Oh my goodness, what a nightmare we've got ourselves into. The European Super League. 12 already rich clubs. All they want to do is get even bloody richer. From my point of view, from fans from other clubs' point of view, I just don't see any good in all of this. You know, the only thing that's going to be good out of this is the bank balances of those spearheading it. Yeah, of course, your CEOs, your owners, your bigwig oil tycoons, your Americanos, of course, from the the Glazers, the Gillette still. I don't even know who owns them for these days, but of course, these big six from the Premier League already backed by American dollars, backed by the oil tycoons. They just want to further their bank balances, and I'm hearing a lot of tosh today on the old Sky Sports News from statements from fan bases from those top six saying that for example, Manchester City were being forced into this decision. It's not really being forced. How can they be forced? They're already led. They're already their bank balances are already led by oil money, which is never going to go away. So for them to say that they are forced, I think that's a bit of a joke already. But ultimately, I cannot get my mind around this now. Of course, we've been around this road already this season with the breakaway statement that the Premier League, the Big Six made, or the supposed Big Six made earlier in the campaign, which was met with also quite disgruntled fanfare by the supporters and of course by the other Premier League bodies. So they took that stance, and now they've gone a bit one step further. Basically, they've ignored the initial response made way back. Of course, I don't know how long it was. 12 months ago, around about the Premier League when we got Premier League football back from, of course, the COVID suspension. So they've already been down this road once, and now they've gone down it again, and it looks like with a bit more purpose now. And I don't even get me started on those illustrious or supposed Big Six. It's a bit of an embarrassment, really, and it's been said countless times already by other people on Twitter and other pundits and things like that. When you're called the supposed Big Six, when was the last time Arsenal actually won a Premier League? You know, last I've won it since then. And Tottenham. Don't even get me started on Tottenham. Of course, they're at a final right now, this coming week, the League Cup final, which they'll inevitably lose. Their only recent success has been a League Cup, and that's going back a bit, 10, 15 years. I don't even know that. So for them to say that they're in the Big Six is a joke. And the reason probably why they're in the Big Six is probably they are backed financially. They do have a nice, really good elite stadium. We'll give them that. But that's probably where all the grading for them to be considered a Big Six club. They probably have one of the best, if not the best, stadium in the Premier League. Of course, it is a current standard stadium where, of course, a lot of the traditional bigger clubs are still with their old school stadiums. But of course, you can't really do this at all across the board, and let alone the ramifications it will have across European football. This, you know what I mean? It's just riddled with issues from the get-go. Is there an answer for this? No. If we're going to bat this one away, it will just come back again in a different variant. It is just like they'll take it away if it gets refused and disclaimed and disputed by UEFA and by FIFA. They'll just come back with another model, which will just reignite this thing. It's going to be a never-ending circle, especially if the likes of UEFA and FIFA don't clamp down on this big time, and they need to do it big time. They need to, And I did hear Gary Neville's comments yesterday. And they were harsh. They were very, very harsh, and to a point, I do agree. I think they should be, especially if they're going to go ahead with this. Slam them with a fine, slam them with a point deduction, and yes, go the extreme, because otherwise it's just going to come back with a different thing. It won't be called a Super League. It'll be called something else. It'll be called the World League. It'll be a World League. It'll be something else. They'll just come back with a different variant. Getting rid of the clubs. Well, let's talk about that in a minute. Because if we do go ahead and ban them, or at least suspend them, or deduct points from them, or whatever, they're gonna treat the Premier League as they do the League Cup these days. They'll play the under-23s. Oh, we don't really matter about the Premier League. It's gonna happen. It wouldn't be an immediate thing, but eventually, just like the League Cup, it will be downgraded. And of course, the FA Cup is going the same way. A lot of clubs, especially in the early stages, the bigger boys, they play their kids anyway, and that's what will happen with the Premier League. League. It'll become a feeder system for this new Super League, where they'll only be focused on where the money is, and that is what's been planned here. So it is a bad situation. Why can't we settle for what we've got? And what's the point? The Champions League is a tremendous tournament whatsoever. It's just not ladening. It's just not ladening the rich people with the money that they want. They're not getting the money. They're not getting enough money. That's what it all boils down to, and it's actually quite sickening to think about that. And when you think about the situation that we're all in, if you're going to do something, and I've started now. I've gone into the rant mode. But if you're going to do something like this, you got to wait till the feelings around the place are good. We haven't even got fans back in the stands yet. It's on the eve of fans getting back in the stands that they decided to come out with this statement. Or maybe they were pushed. Maybe there was a leak already and this news was going to come out. So they decided, you know what, now's the time to go ahead with the statements. It's just absolutely mind-bogglingly insane to think what they're planning. And they might come up with all these the grassroots football we find, we'll be funding them 3 billion dollars or billion pounds or whatever it is. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it will be a lesser competition. The Football League, the English Premiership, of course, not the Bundesliga. We'll talk about that in a minute, of course. But La Liga, Serie A, all will be diminished in value, tremendous value. Again, they will play the likes of Barcelona B. Will then be, of course, it'll be basically the Barcelona in La Liga will be Barcelona B. It's just absolutely insane the amount of issues that is wrong with this. And I don't know, the only way to satisfy this is to maybe increase the value of the Champions League. I don't know, maybe you could abolish the Europa League and make a sort of a league or competition to. And I would never do this. Of course, to get rid of the Champions League itself. If you were to rebrand the Champions League or something like that, which it already did already. It was rebranded from the European Cup to the Champions League. So that's probably the only way that they could probably to appease these mega rich owners who just want to get fatter and, of course, steal the money from the paying public, which is you and I, of course. We'll be paying for it instead of paying £40 a ticket to go watch a Premier League match, and then of course you're going to pay another £50 to watch a Champions League match. Or then if you're going to go into the Super Duper League, you're going to have to probably pay £100 because only the rich will go there. Be treated like the Super Bowl basically, where only the tickets go for crazy money, like thousands and thousands of dollars. It's just riddled with issues. And I'm not even touching on the history of course, the football leagues. And again, we are being greedy, or ourselves have been just focusing on the English game, where it will have ramifications across Europe as well. Fortunately, the bigwigs of the Bundesliga, and for the time being anyway, the likes of PSG are standing their ground. Porto as well, allegedly backing out of this proposed deal. And again, I feel it may get brushed under the carpet, but it's not going to change the mindsets of those Power 12. They'll come up with another way to rebrand this, respin this, so that they can get what they want. And they already get what they want in a minuscule level on these stupid the tournaments that they have over the summer in China, in the Middle East, in the United States. They have all these little mini tournaments that they make a shit ton load of money of from bringing the first teams over to play ridiculously stupid, not pointless kind of games, and that frustrates me to no end already. God, we're losing those bread and butter traditional friendlies, which saw the likes of like third or fourth tier teams play the likes of Premier League opposition in their own grounds. They may still happen on a minuscule level, but they're not as frequent as they once were. So the likelihoods of your Rochdales playing the first 11 of a Premier League team, or at least the top 6 Premier League team, are becoming smaller and smaller, and those are make-wakes for the likes of those teams in those divisions. Of course, they're on their hands and knees praying to get those in the cups, even though right here, right now, in today's footballing world, those cup games for the lower league oppositions against the Premier League are usually going to be played against second string, and it's an embarrassment. We already saw it already with Liverpool and Klopp. Where of course he was in a situation where he was focusing on the World Club Cup, and then I think he was in the FA Cup or the League Cup, and he basically, and no fault on his own, I'm sure he would have played a stronger sort of team against the Shrewsburys back if he had the option. But of course the scheduling didn't permit it. And that's another kettle of fish we're going to be going down. We're already, right here, right now, experiencing tight congestion with the balancing of domestic cups, European competition, and of course, domestic leagues. But if you introduce another Super League to run alongside this, you're just going to make matters worse. And it will undoubtedly let the Premier League's illustrious top six, the big cats or whatever you want to call it, play their younger 11s. And it's a joke. It's just joke. It's putting a big old fat finger up to the Premier League. The bird. They're giving the bird, the Premier League, the fat finger, and giving the fans of these English clubs a big fat finger as well. It's an absolute embarrassment. And I hope realistically, I would love it. I would love to see them get slapped with big heavy fines. I would love to see them get deducted points. I would love to see them get relegated all the way down to the conference and all that kind of stuff. And it will destroy the fan bases, the likes, your Man United fans, your Arsenal fans, your Chelsea fans. They'll be in a own conundrum of themselves. Unfortunately, I'm not in that class. Now, if I were to flip this all around and be in those top six clubs, what would I think about this? I'm sure my take wouldn't be as angsty as it is, but it'd still be upsetting because I'm a traditionalist myself anyway, regardless of who I'm supporting. I like a tradition. I like, keeping things, having a bit of roots or a bit of culture, a bit of something that makes us who we are. And making us who we are is English football. And I even today's date, in the standard of the Premier League, I used to love watching the old final scores rolling in at 4:40 or 4:45, seeing all the Premier League scores coming in, seeing all the other ones coming in. But now we're sporadically, or not even sporadically, but most weeks in this season, in this day and age, we're only getting one Saturday Premier League top flight game being played at 3:00 kickoffs in the UK, which is absolutely mind-boggling. It's beggars belief. Even like your Boxing Day and your New Year's Day fixtures are going down a rat shit hole as well. It's a vicious old circle that we're in, and we're trying to appease those at the top by giving them the money. And it's absolutely sickening to what's happening to football, and it's you could take a sidestep from the top flight and look at the other leagues, and yes, it's still still tradition to its core in those leagues, but it's only a matter of time before this domino effect will either have one way, a positive way, or a negative way on those teams. And you're already seeing, traditional old school clubs getting forced into administration and, of course, going out of business. We've seen the likes of Macclesfield having to rebrand and coming back as a new team with 100+ years of history going down the shitter because, of course, football is not being operated in the way it used to. It's being controlled by a few big heads at the top of the table, and they're giving the breadcrumbs potentially. And it's kind of embarrassing and annoying and what's the word? It's sickening. It's sickening to think that these bigwigs are being so-called generous to offer so little financial gain to those football league clubs to appease what they want. It makes me sick. It's not the end of it. I'm sure we're going to begin listening to this throughout the week, and it'll be interesting to hear what they say. As the spokesman for these clubs try to or reason with the fans. But for me, it's ultimately, I don't think it's going to go away. If it does get brushed under the carpet, it'll come back again. They're not going to be settled until their pockets are filled with money. The only way I could see something changing this and appeasing those and appeasing everybody is a Champions League rebrand, which I think they were supposed to do today. I think there was going to be a launching of a rebrand of the Champions League. But yeah, we're stuck in this scenario right here, right now. I don't know what's going to happen. Will those big six be demoted? Will they get deducted points? Will they get fines? Will the players be allowed for the Euros? And that is another interesting question. I love my international football, and the fact that a lot of these players allegedly right here, right now, as of recording, would be potentially suspended from the tournaments. It cheapens those. It does cheapen those tournaments. And the players, realistically, it's another angle. Don't really have any say in what's going on at the moment anyway. I'm sure there might be a revolt. Hopefully there's going to be a revolt within those clubs. But they are paid employees. They are paid to represent those. But ultimately they should be able to look back on any contracts and say, this is not what I signed up for. I did not sign up for this Super League business bullshit. That's actually cheapening the bread and butter fan out there that is going to be worsened by this, because realistically it is going to be worsened. You're going to be playing international football, continental football on every other weekend, and forcing those hard-working fans to pay for European travel, for paying for accommodation, for paying for all kinds of stuff, in order to follow their team on a weekly basis, and that's a joke. They already have the financial burden of travelling to support their club if they're fortunate to be in the Champions League. So ultimately, this stinks like shit from a high heaven, and I'm talking about the biggest heathen of shit. It's the nasty stuff that doesn't go away quickly, and to be fair, it's going to be smelling like shit for a long time. You know what I mean? It's going to be until either some, and the Bundesliga model is the way forward as well. It's another alternative avenue. 51% of ownership is represented by the fans. And ultimately, they have the deciding say on the majority of stuff. But look, you can still succeed on that level. You can still succeed. Look at the Bayerns, the Dortmunds of the world. They are competing at a top level. And in fact, an amazing level. Just both winning the Champions League this past week. Of course, they did get knocked out, but it doesn't really matter. And the same can be said for PSG as well. I don't know why they said no, because I'm sure that smells like something that they would get involved with. But maybe they just don't have enough lure. You know what I mean? Just taking the one team from France. And the same can be said for Porto as well. I don't know, but ultimately it stinks. But what will the outcome be? It's a very, very interesting scenario, and it could be and to be happening right here, right now, in a pandemic where most people, maybe some people are back at work. I don't know. I think quite a few people may be back at work right now, but I'm not. I'm still as a large work base, still waiting to be recalled, still not making their money that they used to. And now here comes this other Super League that's going to starve that fan out of football and steer them towards something else, because I'm sure the Super League won't be owned by Sky. It'll be owned by another sort of a network or something that you'll have to pay, and it'll be probably Americanized as well. So basically, you kind of this European Super League is ultimately becoming an American thing, I feel, and it'll be served probably even on American kickoff times to suit them. It could go any old which way, and it's just a rat's nest of disaster. And the thing is, we're going to be handed out all these statements from the clubs saying this, that, and the other. Yes, it's good for the thing. They're going to kind of spin it away, but ultimately it's going to be destroying the English football and of course European major football across the top flights, and of course their football pyramids. It's going to destroy them slowly but surely, and eventually we will end up with just the big fat cats at top. These big six will come out and they'll remain, and then of course will be like considered. If you look at the MLS right now, I don't know, I should be ending this, but the MLS has, I don't know, 24 teams or something like that. But there is a football pyramid within the United States football. But none of those guys can get into that top tree of the MLS. They're just there. They exist. For example, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they exist, but they'll never get promoted to the MLS. Not really, anyway, unless they get some sort of money and bribe their way into the MLS. But realistically, they could win their NASL or whatever the tier is for 25 years in a row, and they will not get a sniff. That could be said here for Leicester Cities, for your Evertons, of course, who are, of course, traditional old school clubs, and of course Leicester recently winning of the Premier League far sooner than the likes of Arsenal and of course even Tottenham Hotspur, to be fair. So yeah, it's a joke. It smells like shit, and it ain't going to go away anytime soon. And the only way I could see this appeasing or being settled is a rebrand of the Champions League, which will replace its current status. But right now I don't see that happening, because the likes of UEFA and FIFA are absolutely livid with these guys, and ultimately I think that's where it's going to end. So yeah, of course I will talk more about this as it develops, and this was kind of on the cuff really, but I am upset about it. But fortunately Blackburn Rovers are not in that category. Would I want to be in there? No, because it's sickening. It's sickening, and I feel for the Man United fans. I feel for the Arsenal fans, and of course Chelsea fans as well, being tarred by this, by their poor ownership. And it's something that hopefully they can resolve themselves. And in all honesty, I'd like to see what their owners are going to do to get them back on the side, because we're already seeing it with Liverpool. A lot of angst amongst them, and that's why I'm eager to see what happens today in the match between Liverpool and who is it? Wolves or Leeds or something like that. Leeds, there it is. But anyway, that's it. I'll speak to you all soon. Till then, smash your thumbs up, smash your subscribe. We'll do it all again soon.